Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to stately Vaughan Manor. Now, today it is Tag Tuesday, and I do have a tag for you. This is a pretty good one. This is a tag created by AJ Dunn over at AJ Dunn Reads and Writes. This tag is the It's All Relative book tag. It's a tag all about relationships. So let's dive right in to this tag. He did a pretty good job on his tag video. I'm going to link that down below. All right, prompts. Prompt number one. There are 9 prompts here. So prompt number 1, Mamma Mia. Recommend a book with a mother character that is pivotal to the story. Well, that's easy because I just read this book a couple weeks ago. That would be Dunn by Frank Herbert. Specifically, the mother character would be Lady Jessica, mother of Paul, and she plays a pivotal role in this book. That's for sure. She's a very, very important character, Paul's mother, Lady Jessica. So Dunn. Now, I know AJ Dunn doesn't care for this book too much, but he's just so wrong about this book. This book is fantastic. So yeah, Dunn for Lady Jessica. That's prompt number 1. Prompt number 2, Papa, Don't Preach, a book with a father character you like or despise. Or in this case, kind of both. I kind of like and despise this character. I actually like him more than I despise him. And that would be 1977's Father of the Year, Jack Torrance from The Shining. Yeah, Jack Torrance. He's not the best dad in the world, that's true. He is an alcoholic. He did try to kill his family. So yeah, not the best dad, but I do like him. He's an interesting character at the very least. A lot more interesting in the book than he was in the film. I should have a review of this book up next week. So be sure to catch me next week for the review of The Shining, because I just read that one as well. Number 3, Brothers and Sisters, a book with an interesting sibling relationship. I'm going to go, I mention these books all the time, but I'm going to mention them again, with The Last Policeman trilogy. This is the final book in the trilogy, World of Trouble. In the Last Policeman trilogy, the main thing that's happening is that there is an asteroid. It's heading towards the planet Earth, and it's going to wipe out all life on Earth, probably. And in each of the 3 books, the asteroid's a little bit closer. This one, the asteroid's about a week away. And the reason I picked this book is because the central relationship in these books is the relationship between Detective Henry Pallas and his sister, Nico. And in this particular book, the final book, the plot is, as society has completely fallen apart, Detective Pallas is searching for his sister. We've seen her in the other 2 books, but in this one, he's searching desperately for her because he wants to find her before the asteroid hits. They have a really interesting relationship. And that's pretty much, other than an asteroid heading towards the Earth, what this book is really about is the relationship between Henry Pallas and his sister. So, pretty important relationship, and it's central to the story. So, yeah. Last Policeman trilogy. I recommend that yet again. Number 4, It's Been 84 Years. A book you like that is multi-generational or chronicles a character's whole life. I'm going to go with the multi-generational, and I'm going to go with a whole saga of 17 books. So I'm cheating again. I always cheat on these tags. So I'm cheating. It's 17 books, not just one. And this is the first multi-generational saga that I read, and that would be The Sacketts by Louis L'Amour. This is book 6, which apparently I got for 50 cents at half-price books. But yeah, The Sacketts by Louis L'Amour, excuse me. Multi-generational saga. A lot of it takes place in the Old West. A lot of it before that. Now, Louis L'Amour is no one's choice for greatest author in the world. He did have his bad points, I suppose. You know, he would create characters that he would forget about. Sometimes he couldn't remember how many characters were in a room or in a group. Sometimes he'd bring up plot points and just forget all about them. He had his issues because he wrote really, really, really fast, this guy. But this is a pretty good series, I have to say. And this particular one is Mojave Crossing by Louis L'Amour. So I'm going to go with the seconds. That's what I'm going to go with for this one. Okay, number 5, You Complete Me. A book with an interesting marriage as a central element to the story. I'm going to choose F. Scott Fitzgerald's Tender is the Night. This is the story of the marriage of Dick and Nicole Diver. Their terrible, tragic marriage. It was a mess, but really great book. This book is something. I think it's his best book. Tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think this was Fitzgerald's best book. For a long time, I thought it was The Great Gatsby, but the more I think about it, the more I think this one actually is a better book. So, fantastic book. Tender is the Night. A real mess of a marriage in this one. So, there's that. Number 6, Picture It, Sicily. A book with an interesting elder character, i.e. a grandparent, great-grandparent, etc. Well, the elder character that came to mind is not a grandparent or a great-grandparent. But he sort of is to these characters, to the characters in these books. It has to be Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit. It has to be Gandalf. Has to be. He's sort of grandfatherly in a way. But, you know, who else could it be? Has to be Gandalf. So, Gandalf. From the Lord of the Rings trilogy and its prelude, The Hobbit. All right, number 7, Friends with Benefits. A book with a found family or friends as family element. Well, this one I'm choosing, I can pretty much guarantee that no one else is going to choose, probably. And this book immediately popped into my head as soon as I read this question. That would be the Doom Patrol. This book is the Silver Age Doom Patrol Omnibus. Has every issue of the initial Doom Patrol series that came out in the Silver Age of comics. Came out in the 1960s. A couple months before the X-Men, which it bears similarities to. So these characters in this book, they're all kind of freaks and outcasts. You've got Elastigirl there. She could change sizes and shapes and things. And then we've got Robot Man there. We've got Negative Man over there, who's just an irradiated mess under his bandages. And then we've got the Chief right there, the leader, the wheelchair-bound leader of a superhero team, which does sound familiar. But this book is great. This was a great series of comics. These characters were just total weirdos. And who doesn't love that? And when they first got together in the first issue of the Doom Patrol, they were not sure about each other. They were not sure they even wanted to be in this group. But by the end of it, they were a family. They were a really solid group who stood together. They had a tragic end at the end of this book. But it's really great. And if you ever have the chance to read the Silver Age Doom Patrol, it's fantastic. So that's my answer for that one. What else do we got here? Let's see. Found family. Oh, number 8. I Think We're Alone Now. A book with a character who is lost, left behind, or abandoned. Can also be a story with an orphaned or adopted character. This character popped instantly to mind because I'm going to be reading it probably next week. Once again, I've read this a few times. And our poor orphaned character is, of course, young Lord Greystoke, a.k.a. Tarzan of the Apes. This is a classic novel. Tarzan is the star of many novels in the Tarzan series. But in this particular novel, Tarzan's parents, Lord and Lady Greystoke, are marooned on the coast of the jungles of Africa by a bunch of mutineers, and they're left there to fend for themselves, far from civilization. And they do their best to survive. And his mother, Tarzan's mother, is pregnant with young Greystoke, and she gives birth there. And about a year later, she dies. And then Tarzan's father is killed by a bunch of apes. So things are looking grim for young Tarzan, but he is adopted by Kala, who gives him the name Tarzan. And sadly, Tarzan is actually orphaned twice, because when he's a teenager, his mother, Kala the ape, the adopted mother, she is killed by a hunter who shoots her with a poisoned arrow. So poor Tarzan, he's got a tough time. Now eventually, of course, he rejoins civilization, he becomes Lord Greystoke, and he is always torn. He's a man torn between two worlds, never fully at home in either. And he's a really great character, really interesting character, complex character, really. And much better character than you'd think if you've only seen the dopey Tarzan movies. The Tarzan books are pretty darn good, let me tell you. So, Tarzan. And I think we're on to our last character now. Our last book. Recommendation number 9, Fur Baby. A book where a pet or animal is a part of the family and/or plays an important role in the book. So this is an interesting one, this choice. I'm going to go with Planet of the Apes. Now, depending on how you look at this book, it's either a human being on a planet full of animals, or the human being is the animal, because human beings are regarded as animals on this world, on the planet of the apes. So it kind of flips it. Now remember, human beings, of course, are animals in real life. And this book kind of rams that home that yes, you are an animal. And in this world, human beings, that's what they are. And the apes are the superior beings on this planet, on the planet of the apes. So there's a couple ways you could look at it. A bunch of animals and a person, or the superior apes and a person as the animal. So there you go. I'll let you figure that one out. But I'll tell you, this book, A Planet of the Apes, it's really good. It's a really good book. And it's worth reading. It's worth reading at any rate, whether you've seen the movie or not, or whatever, whether you're into science fiction or not. It's actually a really good book, so you should read this one. I think that's the last question. Let me just double check. Yeah, that was the last one. So all that is left is for me to tag someone, and AJ Dunn looks like he tagged a bunch of people, but I don't see Miss Reads a Lot here. So I'm going to tag Miss Reads a Lot. You should do this tag, Miss Reads a Lot. And of course, I should tag Justin at this just in. I tag you, Justin at this just in. Actually, he might have tagged you, Justin, but I don't see it here. Oh, you know what? He already tagged Miss Reads a Lot. I just missed it. You're double tagged Miss Reads a Lot. He tagged like everybody. I don't know that he tagged Justin though. No, I don't think he did. So I'm tagging Justin. I tag you, Justin. Yeah, he even tagged Tomb Raider. He didn't leave anybody for me to tag. AJ Dunn. Okay. So there you go. I tag Justin at this Justin. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed this It's Just Relative tag, or It's All Relative tag. And I will catch you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Comic Book Wednesday. I've got something else coming up later on this week at some point. I don't know that I'll be able to do one on Thursday. This week is looking a little sketchy. But I should have something up on Friday, and then of course Saturday we're back to being Sherlock Holmes. So I will catch you next time here at Stately Fawn Manor. Have a good day, guys.